The story of the Alhambra Palace. A long time ago, in a beautiful city called Granada, there was a great palace. This palace is called Alhambra. It is one of the most famous palaces in the world. Are you ready to hear the story of Alhambra? Let's travel back in time together, the beginning of Alhambra. Many, many years ago, in the 13th century, a king named Muhammad wanted to build a big and beautiful palace. He was the ruler of a kingdom called the Nasrid dynasty. This kingdom was part of Andalusia in southern Spain. Muhammad said, "I want a palace that shows the greatness of our people." And so the story of Alhambra began. Many workers, artists and builders came to Granada to help the king. They started building the palace on top of a hill. From there, they could see the entire city and the mountains around it, a palace full of art and beauty. The name Alhambra means the red castle in Arabic. This is because the walls of the palace look red in the sunlight. The builders used red clay from the earth to make the bricks. When the sun shines on the walls, the palace glows like fire. The inside of the palace is even more beautiful than the outside. The walls are covered with tiles, carvings, and Arabic words. You can see patterns of flowers, leaves, and stars everywhere. These decorations make the palace look like a dream. The Lion Fountain. One of the most famous places in Alhambra is the Court of the Lions. In the middle of this court, there is a fountain with 12 marble lions. The lions look very proud and strong. Water flows from the mouths of the lions, making a soft sound. In the past, the fountain worked like a clock. Every hour, water flowed from a different lion. The lions are very special because they show a mix of Islamic and Christian art. Usually, Islamic art does not include animal statues, but the builders of Alhambra made an exception. Gardens like Paradise Alhambra is not only a palace, it also has beautiful gardens. The most famous garden is called the Generalife. It is full of flowers, trees, fountains, and pools. When you walk through the garden, you feel like you are in paradise. The kings of Alhambra used to come to the Generalife to rest and think. They loved listening to the sound of water and feeling the cool breeze from the mountains. A palace for Muslim kings. For many years, Alhambra was the home of Muslim kings. They ruled the Nasrid kingdom from this palace. The kings held meetings in the Hall of Ambassadors where they talked about important things. They also had parties and celebrations in the palace. The rooms were full of carpets, silk curtains, and pillows. In winter, they made fires to keep the palace warm. In summer, they opened the windows to let the cool air inside, the end of the Nasrid kingdom. In 1492, a big change happened. The Catholic monarchs, Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand, came to Granada. They wanted to take control of the city. The last Muslim king, Boabdil, had to leave Alhambra. He was very sad. People say that when he left the palace, he looked back one last time and cried. The Catholic monarchs took the palace and made some changes. They added Christian symbols and used the palace for their own meetings. But they also respected the beauty of the original design. Alhambra today. Today, Alhambra is a famous tourist attraction. People from all over the world come to see the palace. They walk through the halls, look at the fountains, and enjoy the gardens. Some people come to learn about the history of Granada, while others come to take pictures of the beautiful architecture. In the evening, the palace looks magical. Lights shine on the walls, and the Alhambra glows in the night like a jewel. Many people say that Alhambra is one of the most beautiful places they have ever seen. A palace that brings cultures together. The story of Alhambra is a story of different cultures, Muslim and Christian. The palace is a place where two worlds meet. It is a symbol of art, peace, and history. Even after many centuries, Alhambra still stands strong, telling its story to everyone who visits. A palace for everyone. Now that you know the story of Alhambra, maybe you want to visit it one day. When you walk through the palace, remember the kings and artists who made it so beautiful. Look at the patterns on the walls, feel the cool air in the gardens, and listen to the soft sound of the fountains. Alhambra is not just a palace. It is a bridge between the past and the present. It reminds us that art and beauty are for everyone, no matter where they come from. More secrets of the Alhambra. Let's walk deeper into the palace. Every corner of Alhambra has a story to tell. Now we are in the Hall of the Two Sisters. This room gets its name from two large marble stones on the floor. They look like twin sisters lying side by side. The ceiling of this hall is full of honeycomb patterns. It shines when the light hits it, making you feel like you're inside a giant beehive. In the past, the kings used this hall to meet with poets and musicians. They loved listening to stories, poems, and songs. Poetry was very important in Alhambra. It is said that the walls of the palace can talk because many poems are written on them. A king's last goodbye. Let's go back to the story of Boabdil, the last Muslim king of Granada. After he lost the city to Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand, Boabdil had to leave Alhambra forever. There is a sad story about this moment. As Boabdil left the palace, he stopped at a hill outside the city. From there, he looked back at Alhambra one last time. Tears rolled down his face. His mother, who was with him, said, "Do not cry like a child for what you could not defend as a man." This place is now called the Hill of the Moors Sigh. Visitors from all over the world today, Alhambra welcomes people from many countries. Some visitors come to learn history, while others want to see the beauty of Islamic art. Many artists and writers are inspired by Alhambra's magic. Even the famous writer Washington Irving wrote a book about the palace. In the palace, you will see people taking photos, drawing pictures, or writing in their notebooks. They want to keep a piece of Alhambra with them forever. What makes Alhambra special? Alhambra is more than just a palace. It is a place where nature and art meet. The fountains never stop flowing, and the gardens stay green even in hot summers. The air smells like roses and orange trees. Everything in Alhambra is made to create peace and beauty. The architecture of Alhambra is a mix of Islamic, Christian, and Renaissance styles. This shows how different cultures can come together to create something beautiful. A palace that changes with the seasons. In spring, the gardens of Alhambra are full of flowers. You can see pink roses and white jasmine everywhere. In summer, the palace stays cool because of the breeze from the mountains. In autumn, the leaves turn golden and fall gently to the ground. And in winter, the snow covers the mountains around Granada, making the palace look like a picture from a fairy tale. The night at Alhambra. At night, the palace becomes even more magical. The walls shine under the moonlight, and the fountains whisper softly in the dark. Some people say that if you listen closely, you can still hear the voices of the old kings and queens of Granada. Visitors love to walk through Alhambra at night. They feel like they are in a dream, surrounded by history and beauty. A timeless place. Alhambra is not just a part of the past, it is also a part of today. People from different religions and cultures visit it, just as they did many years ago. It is a place that reminds us how important it is to respect beauty and history. Whether you visit Alhambra in the morning or at night, in summer or winter, the palace will always welcome you. It will tell you stories of kings, poets, and travelers. And now you are a part of its story too. The end of the journey now. We have reached the end of our story about the Alhambra Palace, but the palace will always remain in your heart. If you ever visit Granada, don't forget to explore every corner of this magical place. Look at the walls, feel the cool water of the fountains, and imagine the stories of the people who lived there.